everybody. How are y'all doing? I hope everybody's doing good. Hello, Miss Janice. Mimi of Six. Hello, Victoria. Hi, Miss Barbara. And Kathy. Hello. Well, thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. I really do. Glad to see y'all are able to get on. I am so worried about our friends in the flood area. I am so worried about them. Hi, Miss Dorothy. Thanks for being here. I am just worried and nervous and praying that they're all okay. I know there's a ton of people unaccounted for right now, but it may just be because they can't get out as far as out of where they are at or get out on the phone. There's no electricity. Some of the phone lines are down. Cellular towers are down. It is bad in Eastern Tennessee. Different parts of Kentucky, I think, got hit a little bit. Virginia and the northwest side of North Carolina and Virginia. Yeah. I've been watching all morning prayers for everyone that's in that area. It looks really bad. Like overpasses on the highway have cratered. They just gave out from the weight of the water. Miss Janice, her Wi-Fi is going in and out. She says, yeah, bridges, roads, their whole highway. You couldn't even get up on one of the highways there. It's bad. And tons of houses are underwater. Cars are underwater. Oh, maybe y'all had a bridge wash out. Prayers for y'all too. Yes, it's not good. And I kind of debated if I was going to do this tonight or not. And I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead. We'll see how many come in. Oh no, the water pump station's gone. That's not good. Oh goodness. No. Lay down. She's in here by herself and she thinks it's horrific. She's at the door whining. No. Lay down. Thank you. Sorry. But yeah, I'm just worried about everybody. We have a lot of our subs. You are in East Tennessee, Mimi. Yeah, a lot are in the East Tennessee area. I have a lot in the Carolinas, Virginia, and in Kentucky area there. I'm not sure about how bad Kentucky got affected. I did hear them in the devastation side when they were talking about it. They mentioned parts of Kentucky as well. You know, they said it's catastrophic. It's really bad. I believe. Oh, thank you, Miss Barbara. She's a mess. Their mayor did mention that it was of biblical proportions. And some of the pictures I've seen in the hospital, they had water up to the roof and they were getting people out onto the roof. They had boats go to try to rescue, but the currents were so bad they couldn't do it by boat. So they had to get helicopters up in there to get them rescued. I've heard of no casualties at all from the hospital area. So that is amazing. But, you know, it's It's affected a lot of people. And for them to be so far away from the Gulf where the hurricane started. Hey, TJ. Thanks for being here. Rockin' Rhonda. Hey, girl. Oh, so yeah, it came in hard and fast. And that hurricane, it moved fast. It was moving so fast that once it hit land, it didn't slow down until once it slowed down, it hovered. And it still had all the wind and the strength and the rain, and it just hovered over areas and totally drenched them. And there is another hurricane about to enter into the Gulf. So prayers on that one. Yes, I watched JLR in Florida as well. Oh, and he was walking around Cedar Key. I mean, there was like a desk chair on the beach. There was a like a dining chair, it looked like, sitting out in the ocean. Oh, it was a sad situation there, all along the coast there. So, but yeah, mm, I watched him as well. He was crazy to go sit in his car. I was like, good gosh. But there's people that they just stay where they're at and take what they get. So I don't know. I don't think I would be one of them. I think I'd be cruising, getting out of there. Ooh, I tell you, when it comes to Mother Nature, there is nothing to mess with. And you don't tempt her because she will win every time. It's crazy. Hey, Cheryl. Thanks for joining in, Wise Old Lady. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all so much. But yeah, I really debated on whether to do the live. I just feel so bad because there's so many people dealing with a lot right now. And I know being as I'm just 2 hours from the coast, it's pretty bad when you get hit from the remaining part of a hurricane and it just sits on top of you and everything gets really bad and there's no lights and no electricity and the humidity's bad and it's warm. It's a very miserable way to be. We had gone when Katrina came across from New Orleans and moved over the top of us. We went 5 days. No lights, no water, no nothing. And we had tons and tons of evacuees here in our town. It was unreal. There was people sitting up under the car washes where you can go do your own car wash. And there was cars up under there. And they were hunkered down up in there. There was people parked all over the place in their cars and had to ride it out. It was very sad. So my heart does go out to Northeast Pennsylvania. Oh. Well, I'm glad y'all just got a lot of wind and rain, Mimi. Oh, man. Some of the pictures I've seen, it's bad. I think the flooding there was 10 times worse than down at the coast. Because I think once it hit the coast, it moved so fast and had so much force behind it that it just barreled across and then it was done. Hello, Aunt Sherry. Mwah. Love you, girl. But the weather in New Orleans has been absolutely beautiful all week. Well, good for you. Good for you. Oh, I tell you, I'm really worried about our friends up there in that area. So, anyways, well, I think we're going to talk about Sebastian for a while tonight. I have got some stuff that I want to go over with you guys and let y'all hear. And we're going to talk about that. Sherry, give your mom a hug for me, okay? Tell her I love her. Hey, Barb. Sorry, guys. I need to scratch my back. Y'all, I need a new back scratcher. This was my grandmother's, and it is so worn that it's just smooth here. Sherry, this was Granny's, and it's all smooth. About to break, but it still scratches my back pretty good. But anyways, so Sebastian, poor little baby boy, still missing. We're at 7 months now, and not a single cent has been found. Not a awesome memories of Granny, yeah. But there's no scent of Sebastian. There's no feet print. No sightings. That child just disappeared. And of course, we have the parents. We have listened to their words over and over and over in the interviews they've done. They have done nothing to give us any encouragement at all. And their words are questionable in my mind. And there are times where you can't even help but think to yourself, my goodness. I mean, you can tell they're just stretching as far as they can stretch. Yeah. Yes, Mimi, that baby boy, he was taken out of that house. There ain't no way he walked out on his own. None. And we've got the flashlight video. And if you knew he took a flashlight with him, wouldn't you get excited? Wouldn't you just have a little hope to yourself that, okay, there's flashlights. But no, they're debunking that. The parents say that is not what it is. Kidney disease makes your skin dry. Maybe that's what's wrong with mine then. Because I was just showing my daughter, I'm like, my skin is so dry. It is unreal. But I bet you it's the kidneys. I didn't even think of that, Barbara. Wow. But yeah, they don't even get excited over the flashlights. They don't get encouraged over the fact that he would probably try to find his way back home because they left home. Not long after he went missing, they left home. We've been told they went to Myrtle Beach for a vacation time. We've been told they went to Oregon for another vacation. But yet, this boy's missing. She's his mother. And there's no worries in the world. We do have the side where they're all against Sebastian's father, his biological dad, and yet he's the only parent out there searching. He has turned in his work records showing where he was on the clock. He works in a jail, and you can't even take your cell phones in. You're on camera everywhere you go. He's accounted for. So all we have is the words of the mother, her waking up that morning, looking for him, getting in the car to drive, call the stepdad. He's gone. They do a 3-way call to the sheriff. That's all we have. Her words and his. Although he was not there. But he knows a lot about what happened and how it happened and all the things. He knows enough that he can speak up. While they speak, like I said, and the last time we talked about Sebastian, I honestly believe that they have some truth in what they say. Now, the dad, the stepfather, let's go there. The stepfather said he was at work in the crane by 6 o'clock that morning. He was there at 5:30. He was in the crane, ready to go at 6 o'clock. We have since learned they don't open and get started till 7 because it's dark before then. And Silver's on the scene. I don't know if you have all seen his latest video he put out, but we're going to watch it because he went to CP's work and he talked to people. And I want to make sure everybody's heard it. We're going to talk about it and everything. So let's get started with that. Let's hope it works good this time, guys. Bear with me. Okay, let's go here. Okay, thumbs up, thumbs down, and let me know if you hear it when it starts to play, okay? Let's go big. Here we go.
Tells us had no one to relieve him. Now we know there was at least one there to relieve him, if not two.
Could y'all hear it? Yay. Okay, let's go. Now we're going to go back. I want to start. Let's start all the way. About right here. Okay. We're going to be talking about the dad because he went to Memphis and he talked to people there. So here we go.
I was told information. I'm about to share it. I think it's big. I think it's huge. I was told information by a co-worker of Christopher Proudfoot's. So I'm taking that information. I'm sharing it. I'm not going to share any names. Okay. There's a couple of details. I'm not going to get too specific. I'll get specific enough you'll understand. But just to make sure, there's no blowback back to the person I spoke to. But here's the big thing. I'm going to take what I was told and then I'm going to put my spin on it, right? Someone says this and I'm going to tell you what I think about that. And that's allegedly in my opinion. And I may repeat that throughout the video, but also taking what I was told is allegedly in their opinion. However, they interacted directly with him as they worked with him. So just want to throw that up there. So that's where we're at. And back to we will not forget you, Sebastian. That's a promise. You're going to see how relevant that is and what I'm about to share with you. So the job site, as you know, in my video of searching in Memphis, as well as yesterday's recap where I talked about Memphis, I really didn't even know I was going to go by the job site when GPS was taking me to my location to search. Did not know I was going by the job site, and there it is. And you see the cranes, right? We know Chris was a tower crane operator, right? And so he worked on one of those cranes. Now, this is big. Information from the job site. Chris Proudfoot job site. Did you know? Because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I put the did you know in there because I don't think I knew any of these things. I knew things related to them, but you're about to see what I was told. I did not know this. And after being told these, I got very emotional, and I'll explain that when I cover everything I was told. But did you know? So as you listen to these things, did you know these things? Because I don't think these things are out there. And it's going to lead us right to, we won't forget you. The people that are out looking and searching for Sebastian, who are trying to bring him home and find him. But did others forget you? Did others forget you on the same day you went missing? Allegedly, in my opinion, yes, they did. So let's dive into it, right? Let's dive into it. Let's not waste any time. You know, I watch YouTube videos and I go, why are you wasting so much time? Let's dive into it. And we're going to do it like this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this up here. And that is right here. And then I'm going to throw this up there right here. Okay, so here's what we know. We're going to do this like this because I want to reveal these things to you as we go through. I'm going to keep Sebastian over here so we can see him. What did I learn? What did I learn? So here's how this came about. I made a visit to RV to make sure, an RV place in Memphis that I'd never been to see if Chris had stayed there. Because based on where I was looking, it would make sense for Chris to stay there. It's the closest RV to the job site. While I was there, I learned a lot. Let's jump into it. I was able to speak to someone who worked with Chris, because Chris is not working there now. You know, one of the questions somebody asked, I was talking to more than one person. Where's Chris now? I don't care where Chris is. I'm not worried about where Chris is now until we find Sebastian. And when we do, then we'll focus on that. That's your get justice part, right? Get justice. Let's find him. Let's keep the awareness alive and find him. So what did I learn? Here we go. Diving in. Big. RV not at job site. So by coming by the job site for the first time and seeing it, my thoughts are you could not put, not just Chris, but anybody that worked there could not park their RV on that job site and just wake up and come right out and work. There's really not room for it. So talking to the person, I said, hey, could he have put his RV here? Oh, no, absolutely not. No one can. Okay, so there were a lot of comments. Oh, Chris was at the job site, his RV. It was not. Not only was it not at the job site, Chris's RV was not at the Memphis park that I was speaking to. Okay, it's about 8 miles from the job site, 6 miles from the location I was looking at when I was looking for a possible body bag. Great, straight shot into the RV. From the RV to the job site, so it would make sense. And there are people that work at the job site that are staying there. We discussed Yogi and Easy Days and all these other ones, but this one, he was not there. Furthermore, the one thing I didn't discover, one thing I did not learn is where he was the night Sebastian went missing. The thoughts were this, because I asked the question, the thoughts were more than likely Yogi. Okay, but we're not 100% sure on that. Okay, what's next? Shady. Shady, not to trust. The words I was told were this. I believe he's a shady person and would not trust anything he says or does. Would not trust anything he says or does. That's really not revelation, because we've all heard him in his interviews where we see him, or where he calls into channels or podcasts, or ever how he's talking. You know, this is allegedly in my opinion, but at the same time, I don't know Chris Proudfoot. I've never met him. I've never spoken to him. All I have to go on are his own words and behaviors. And I've said this before. Go back, find some videos. His words and behaviors make him unlikable, make him suspect in this entire scenario. Where is Sebastian Rogers? Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one I saved. I put it kind of in the middle. Relieved at 11 a.m. Yeah, there's that pause. Let me pause a little longer. Relieved at 11 a.m. Chris was deemed unsafe on the job site. Yeah, you heard me right. Unsafe. Safety risk for himself and others. That is a big job he does. If you don't understand tower crane operator, let's just throw this picture right here back up. You see how tall these things are? You see that these buildings are made with iron. These are iron beams, steel beams that are lifted up by these cranes that Chris operates. So what I'm saying is, if you got to be clear-headed, you got to be sharp and focused. And evidently Chris is. He wouldn't be doing this job. Let's give him credit. Evidently he's sharp and focused, and he can operate one of these, because he's up there. He's way up there himself operating this thing. But on this day, we don't want that revealed. Hold on. On this day at 11 a.m., 4.5 hours. That's right. 4.5 hours after reporting his stepson missing, meaning three-way call with Katie, 6:30 a.m. Not only is he still working, he's still working at 11 a.m. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he was relieved because he was not focused. Not focused. Off. OFF. He was off. On the same day, his stepson goes missing. So he was relieved. Chris wants to tell you, everyone listen, myself and anyone who will listen, that the reason he didn't get home till 1:30 or 2, leaving the job site at 11, I don't know if he specifically said 11, but he probably did, was because no one was there to relieve him. BS. Allegedly, in my opinion, but hey, I've been told there were more than one relievers. There was at least one reliever and possibly two on the site that day. Come on, Chris. Let's move on. Arrived 6:30 a.m. Chris wants to make you believe 5:15. Why would he need to be at the jobs? Let's think about this for a second. Why would a tower crane operator, when no daylight is up, it is dark, why would he need to be on the job site at 5:15? I think you've seen some other creators go out there and see that others may show up, inside workers, drywall workers, many different types of construction people at 5:15. What I was told is there would be no reason to be there before 6:30 a.m. And then you're going to start in your crane around 7. 6:30 is when he's reporting his stepson missing. 4.5 hours later, he's relieved. Why tell us 5:15? Come on, Chris. Focus off. OFF. Unlike other days. I told you, I'm going to give Chris credit. I will give people credit whenever I can. I'd like to give Chris a lot of credit. Chris, you're listening to this. Talk to me. Email me, silversonthescene@yahoo.com. 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 You are making yourself unlikable. You are making yourself untrustworthy, shady, not to be trusted. Words and actions. Words and actions make you like that. Your focus was off, unlike other days. You ever watch Columbo? Columbo will notice when someone's focus is off. Law enforcement notices when someone's focus is off. Let's refer to other cases, high-profile cases. Just think about them. You'll hear on the media, you'll hear about law officials going and saying, hey, Jim, how was Bill the day his son went missing? Was he normal? Was he upset about his son? Did he want to find his son? Was that why he was off? Or was he just normal, like a normal day? Behavior and focus. This day, a guy who's very sharp, he has to be sharp to do this job. But on this day, his focus was off, unlike other days. And we're going to end it with this, and we'll cover them all. This is the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just say I get relieved from my job, okay? My whoever it is that comes over and says, hey, man, we're going to have to pull you off. You're just not focused. Then you would think, okay, so let's take Chris's words. I was relieved when they got a reliever. That's why I had to work till 11, okay? So you would think he's reported Sebastian missing. He gets off the phone at 6:30, turns to his supervisor if he's on the site there or on his way to the site. When he gets to work, hey, man, my stepson's missing. I need to get out of here as soon as I can. Now, I would leave right then. Hell, I would call him. I wouldn't even be on the job site. Soon, I would be headed towards Hendersonville while I'm on the phone with Katie and the law enforcement and the sheriff or whoever they called, right? And I'm like, I'm on my way. I would have probably been there 3-hour drive. We know this. I've done it 5 or 6 times, 3-hour drive. I'd have been there at 9:30. I don't think Chris, out of his own words, got there till 1:30, 2 p.m. He was working. So when they come to relieve him, and you would think he'd go, I'm so sorry. I know I'm off. I probably shouldn't have been working. My stepson has disappeared. We don't know where he is. He didn't, though. He didn't report Sebastian missing to his work. What? So let's think about this. Hang the phone up with Katie. Law enforcement's descending on her house. Boom, big searches. Everybody's out looking for Sebastian. Chris Proudfoot, allegedly, in my opinion, based on what I was told, gets off the phone and goes to work. And 4.5 hours later is still working. I'm just visualizing moving those levers and picking up that steel and that iron or whatever and lifting it up to where they can put it in. He's working. And his stepson is missing. His wife is all sorts about herself. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Are you 4.5 hours later? Now, here's the question I have. He was relieved. Not his doing. He didn't say, raise my hand, stepson's missing, get someone over here for me. He was.
Guys, can y'all believe this? Can you believe Chris gets off the phone with Katie and the sheriff department and works for 4.5 more hours? Didn't say a word about Sebastian being missing. Didn't say one word. He was off. That's what his coworker said. He was off. So his boss asked him to leave and had someone take over about 11 o'clock. And we're supposed to believe this man when he talks. Because according to what he told us, he talked to the sheriff's department for quite a long time until somebody could come and relieve him at work. Because he couldn't just leave his job. He had to stay until his relief worker could get there. Those were his words. He lied. Again. Straight up lie. He didn't even, when he left, he didn't say, hey, sorry I was off, but my stepson's missing. I just really need to go home. Nope. Never told them Sebastian was missing. What is the purpose for him to tell all of us in this interview this whole spiel about being there at 5:15 in the morning? By 5:30, a little before 6, he's working. But they don't open up until 6:30. Just a little early, and they don't start running until 7 o'clock when it's bright outside and not still dark. So my question is to Mr. Foote, what are you trying to cover up? Because now we know. We have a Facebook post from your friend, and I'm going to show this to y'all, okay? And then I'm going to read it. Can y'all see it? But I'm going to read it, and it says, I requested he be removed from the crane by 10 or 11 a.m. He was replaced, and he stormed off the job site. We start work at 7 a.m. And then whoever it was that was talking with him says they start work at 7 the morning of the 26th. And here is another post from him. I am working at St. Jude's. CP was operating the crane for us February the 26th. I had issues with his performance and his attitude and demeanor all morning, so bad that I requested for him to be removed. So Chris, seriously, what are you hiding? That's right, Ziva, asking. What were you hiding, Mr. Chris? Because obviously you weren't at work at 5:15. You weren't operating your crane by 6 o'clock, 6:30. And you didn't leave right after. You didn't tell them right after you got off the phone. For them to have somebody there to relieve you. So had your attitude not sucked so bad, you might have ended up working the whole day because nobody was on their way to relieve you, Chris Proudfoot. Guys, it's disgusting. Isn't that horrible? It's disgusting. I just couldn't believe it. And my whole thing is, what What is the purpose in that? Never uttered a word, Tiffany. Not a word. They didn't even know his stepson was missing until they saw it on the news. Yeah, TJ, relief or not, deuce, I'm out. So here's the other side over there that's hating on Seth and kissing the Proudfoot's feet. And we're the bad people because we don't believe them? Make it make sense, people. He straight up lied to all of us. I'm just baffled. And he was in a cranky, grouchy mood, a pissed off type of mood. He wasn't sad. He was pissed off. Is that because he was up all night, traipsing through his backyard with flashlights? Could it be? Yeah. The lies just keep growing and growing and growing. Just a little more and a little more and a little more. But we're supposed to believe them. It's absolutely disgusting. And they want us to believe that his mother and stepfather are doing what they can to search for him. But we've gotten nothing but lies from them. He was so disrespectful, they had to remove his ass. Exactly, Tiffany. So disrespectful. He wasn't sad. Sad, depressed, kind of. All the words that you would use when a child's missing were not the words to describe how Chris was that day at work. Minutes after talking to the sheriff. Oh, and Justin did say he himself called the sheriff's department, and there is a pre-recording when you very first call that picks up and says, if this is an emergency, please dial 911. But Katie and Chris didn't have to do that. And we're supposed to believe them. I don't get it. I keep hearing something right here, and it's like making me nervous. I don't know what it is. Probably my little fridge just making noises, but it's woo. Anyways. So all of this, and I didn't put up my banner, so let me do it now. Let me see, where is our fair use? Fair use, fair use, fair use. We are doing this all in the for fair use of for educational purposes. I wouldn't say it's for entertainment purposes, but we are going to criticize it. We will do that for sure. And so I'm going to put this next little thing up here, and we'll have that up on the screen as well. I will have this next channel. I'll put these in my description as soon as I'm through. I had ball games this morning, so I got halfway done, and then I took off. Went to a football game. First football game I got to go watch, and little man got a touchdown. Woo woo! And then headed over 2 towns away and watched the little girl play softball, and then went and watched 2 of the bigger girls play softball. So I got back in time to get my laptop on, get everything ready to go and start. So I hadn't got the description all finished up yet, but I will get it for us. But in the meantime, this is all for fair use. And I am going to get this ready to go. Okay, making sure I got that. I'm going to pull my camera. Let me edit back. I'll stop this. Y'all will have to tell me if you can see or hear once we get started again. Can y'all still hear me? Somebody put a thumbs up or something. Can y'all hear me? Okay, still hear me. Woo woo! Okay, here we go. I have a little something for y'all to listen to. And it's just a sample of when a mother does something to her children, and yet she pleads for their life. She tells a story about what happened to them that she knew of. She does the fake cry. She looks all sad. And then she talks normal so easily. And I want y'all to watch this and tell me if you recognize anyone that we've been looking into. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Let me know if you can't hear the sound.
Killing her sons, 3-year-old Michael and Alexander, who was just over a year old. The Union County Sheriff says Smith is repentant and heartbroken. Her car was pulled from a murky lake Thursday. The bodies of the boys were strapped in the back seat. An autopsy revealed the boys were not killed beforehand. They drowned. In West Palm Beach, Florida, a mother has been charged with killing her child. 24-year-old Pauline Zile is being held without bail. Police arrested her at her attorney's office Friday. At first, she told authorities her 7-year-old daughter was abducted from a flea market, but she later recanted and told police her husband beat the child to death. John Zile then led authorities to the body. He is charged with murder. The jury in the
Then police let me take them, and he said no, he didn't have time because they were in car seats, and it was going to take time for me to get them out of the car seat. And they just told me, he said, but I won't hurt them, and he just took off. But he had a gun, and my big thing is they were screaming, hollering, crying, and I'm just scared that he just lost his patience or something.
I plead to the guy, to the man, me and my wife plead to him to please return our children to us safely and unharmed. We love our children very much, and we want them returned to us safe and sound.
Pray even now for their safe return.
Thank you.
Was last seen wearing a red and white striped outfit and a blue and red coat.
An investigation where the suspect is unknown, where you don't know where he's liable.
Hold on, guys. It's that didn't come down. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go.
Turn up. There's not a lot more than you can do is take the complaints, follow up on them, develop your leads, develop your suspects, and rule them out one at a time. It's slow moving. I have to apologize. There's nothing more that can be done for that. But like I say, it's a classic investigation that could not be run any different anywhere else.
I'm heading this way.
Pray most of all for them, and that they are being taken care of, and that they are safe, and that they will return home safely.
I want to say to my baby that your mama loves you so much, and your daddy and his whole family love you so much. And you guys have got to be strong, because you are. I just know, I just feel in my heart that you're okay. But you got to take care of each other.
Susan, yesterday I know authorities searched your house inside, outside, underneath. Were you there at the time, and do you know what they were looking for?
No, ma'am, I was not there, and I do not know. I did agree, sign a form for them to do that. I was aware they were going to do that, and I understand that's just one of the normalities they have to do in any investigation.
Sources close to the investigation, Susan, have told NBC News that federal agents are focusing, in fact, on the relationship between you and Mitchell Sinclair, the man that you were going to visit that night, the man you said you were going to visit with your children. They've told NBC that there were inconsistencies in your stories. Do you know what inconsistencies they were referring to?
No, ma'am, I really do not know that, but I would like to say that.
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of her children, Michael 3 and Alexander 14 months. The vehicle, a 1990 Mazda, driven by Smith, was located late Thursday afternoon in Lake John D. Long near Union. 2 bodies were found in the vehicle's back seat. Identities are pending an autopsy.
She needs a psychiatrist. She needs something worse than that. I've never heard anything like this. This is the worst way that Union County could ever be brought on the news. It hurts to know that somebody would do that to a young baby.
Some folks in the black community tonight tell me that there will be much healing to be done here, and it's going to take quite a while. Let's listen now to some folks, both black and white, how they feel that this healing will take place here in Union County.
They're always accusing black people of doing things that they do themselves.
Anytime you say black man and white woman, it's all over. You know, I mean, that's my opinion. Anytime you say a black man, that's it. And that's why a lot of us are single now. All of our men are locked up. Some are innocent.
She wouldn't have testified that she done it. They still would be looking for this suspect. And she could, have got away with it.
I feel like the reason that she did that was because it was an easy way.
I just don't want them to believe that somehow what the mother did in any way diminishes the quality, the character, the courage of what they did. And so my thoughts and prayers are with them today. And I would hope the American people would feel that way as well. I think we were all moved and deeply impressed by how that community responded. And this awful turn of events cannot undermine that.
It qualifies as a death penalty case. Under South Carolina law, we have a number of aggravating circumstances that would allow it to be a death penalty case. But again, it's my policy to not just shoot from the hip until I've seen all the facts. I haven't read all the reports.
It's conferring with his client, then Mr. Bruck, as I understand it, is waiving the bond hearing at this time. Based on the representations of counsel, then Ms. Smith will remain in the custody of law enforcement and remain in detention until there's further motions brought before this court.
It will be a long time before any of us can even begin to think about overcoming what has happened to us. We have no answers as to what happened. We do not understand why it happened.
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder.
Wow. Does that remind you of anything? It was in the, I think it was 1994 or something. I think that's what it was. When I watched that last night, all I could see was Katie in the interviews. Her version of what's happened was rehearsed. No remorse anywhere on her face. Yeah, it's been a long time. I saw a picture of her last night and I was surprised. And I didn't quite realize how much time has gone by with that case. Yes. Yes, Barb. The first interview, she couldn't even look at that camera. And Katie didn't get on camera. Her second interview, again with Duchess, was not on camera. And then they did the interview with the TV station, and she was rocking and she was crying, and that's pretty much the last time we saw any type of emotion from Katie. And it, to me, resonates something fierce with so much similarities with Susan Smith and what she did when she chose a man over her children. And if something has happened to Sebastian at the hands of his mother, she chose her husband over her son. I know yes, I did. I read that while ago. Did you send anything else, TJ? Because I was reading those while ago that you sent me. Yes, she does keep using her hands. Yeah. Mama socks. Okay, you sent me something else. Let me look real quick. Yeah, Mama socks she's something. Okay, let me see here. I'm trying to do this on my phone. It's not going to let me. It just keeps buzzing. It's where is it? Let's see. Lord have mercy. So Christopher put, he said, we are. She said something about being careful, and he said, we are. We are actually fixing to go offline for a while. Isn't that something? You know, these people are insane. They want to act a certain way. Yeah. Tiffany, the whole town is scared of Mama socks. Yeah. Well, she's not the only one, TJ. I'll tell you that. There are several. Yeah, nobody dares question Mama's socks. It's ridiculous. It is insane. The lies, they need to stop. And I do not know what law enforcement is waiting for. But by golly, we have put out enough to show, in their own words, they're not doing nothing. They're not trying to help find Sebastian. They want people to stop searching. They're the ones that's threatening, putting out stuff. They now have their little minions that is in the hate Seth column that are putting out things on other creators who put out stuff against them. But I don't understand, because the FBI is not stupid. It was 7 days, 1 week that Sebastian was gone when they started and made the announcement they were scaling back their search for Sebastian. And it was now going into an investigative mode because they believed there was foul play. 7 days. That's all it took for them to realize that child did not leave his home. No matter how much that dad sits there and says, oh yeah, there was a scent. The dogs hid on his scent. Go off of my porch or out my front door to the right and along the side of the house over to that retention pond. When actually to the left is where we saw all the action with the 2 flashlights and the car start up. His way of distracting, get everybody over here on this side. That way, if anything comes up over here, it's squashed because the dog went that way. No, the dogs might have gone that way, but they didn't follow Sebastian's scent because there was no scent to follow. Law enforcement, in their own words, said there was no scent of Sebastian leading away from their house. No, sit down. Well, she's up here in this room with me, and it's driving her crazy because those babies, she can hear the kids, the girls downstairs. Oh, she's so sad. But guys, we have to keep going. And no kisses. Can I look over here? You come over here. Come on, right here. Sit down. Sit down. Okay. We have to keep looking for Sebastian. We have to keep talking. We have to keep bringing out all this. We have to keep saying all of these things. Yes, Barb, I'm so sorry. She's over there at the door whining because she can hear my granddaughters downstairs. They came in. They went hunting with their daddy today. And they just came in, and she is about to go crazy. She loves them babies. Her's a good girl, though. But we can't stop. And the hate channels can talk about us all they want to. I don't care. And if y'all hear any crap about me or whatever, ignore it, guys. Pearl girl, you want to come up on panel? You want to come up? She's been wanting to come up for a while. So, yeah, let's definitely, guys, hang on. I'm going to go let her out. I'll be right back, okay? Hang on just a second. And I'm going to put the link. Hold on, see. Let me get this link. I'll let whoever, if y'all want to come up, y'all come on up. Let's talk. I know Per Girl had some stuff to say, and I was very rude and didn't get her up there. Come on. My computer, man, everything's all glitchy. Oh, come on, get back up there. My mouse is jumpy. Oh, thank you, Barb. Okay, there we go. I'll be right back, guys. Hang on. All righty. There is the link if anybody wants to jump up. Come on up. If not, I love you anyways. Well, here we go. Hey, do you want to keep your camera on or turn it off? It's up to you. Okay.
Art.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. How's the mods in the chat going tonight?
Everybody's doing well. Are you anywhere close to the storms?
Well, we've had some terrible winds here. It's been terrible.
Okay, but no
I
flooding?
live in the hills of Tennessee, so it's been rough.
Yes, man.
We've had a lot of wind, So what are we on tonight?
We're talking about Sebastian, and I know I apologize in front of everybody because I was going to get you on, and then the next one, something took off and we didn't get you on then. So you had wanted to come up because you said you had some stuff you wanted to say.
Well, I'm biased in this. I'm not one to, I don't know how everybody else's feelings are here, but I just want the little feller to come back home.
Oh,
yes. And I want him
yes.
to come back home safe.
Yeah.
You know, I hope he's happy wherever he's at and he's safe and healthy.
Right.
And, but you know, I get to thinking, we were talking the other night, and no, you wasn't rude. You had your own thing going, and that was great. I listened to it and enjoyed it, and I always do.
Oh, good. Thank you.
But I don't know how your chat is about this. I can't see the chat, but I'm not biased either way. I think I was for a while, and I have to apologize for that. But you think about this child, you know, divorced children, they have to live two different lives. And
Yes.
Sebastian had, he had a few little problems there. But truth be known, I think he's smarter than the rest of us.
I think so too. And they kind of, it's almost like they dumb him down or something, because they keep saying, well, he's not quite up to his age or whatever. And he has no friends. And yet they talk to everybody at school. Everybody
Yeah,
loved him.
it's not like they gave him the opportunity to have friends over.
Exactly. I think that's it. Yeah, he is smart. He plays chess. I hadn't figured that game out yet.
Well, I ain't either, honey. I've tried and tried, and I can't figure that one out. But
Yeah.
then I think, when they put him in the diapers and stuff,
Yes. That
it's
says
hard
a
to.
whole lot.
It does say a lot. And my son, we go back on our children. I just wanted to introduce this a little bit. My son was potty trained at 11 months.
Mhm.
And when his daddy left, just everything went crazy. He just started wetting on himself and urinating on himself and soiling his britches. And I'd have to
Yeah.
go to school and pick him up. Now we're on talking about him being 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And my stepson, he had issues up till he was about 14. And Sebastian was going through, puberty and
Right.
hormones change. And my stepson, he had to have nose spray to stop him during his
Really?
hormone change.
Wow.
So,
Huh.
yeah, it was a hormone thing that was changing up on him during puberty. You take all those things together with
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
people wanted
That's
to
bad
argue.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad enough. But then you put everything else on top of it. And the fact that, him being autistic and everything, those kids, they think differently. They
Yeah.
feel differently. They have emotions that are different.
Yeah, they sure do. And people on another panel I was on here last week, they really come down on me hard for thinking that way, but it is issues that children do go through. I know from my own experience.
Yeah.
And he had a big day that day. Maybe he couldn't slow down. They said he wasn't much of a sleeper.
Yeah.
And
I've kind of wondered. We've heard the CPS lady and then Chris making a comment about Sebastian thought that I was going to be removed from my own house. I wonder if that happened in January. He said he hadn't seen Sebastian since the first part of February. So I wonder if Chris was actually told to leave the house.
that's what I've always thought. I thought since, the
Mhm.
spanking and stuff that maybe he couldn't be at
Right.
home with that child.
And then I'm wondering if Chris might not have been there when they came back from Roadhouse. And then Sebastian lost it.
Well, that's true. And you think about that. He did on Nancy Grace say he tried to get it in that he had been in and out, but
Mhm.
not stayed at the house.
Right. And that big old poker game thing was Friday night.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was supposedly in town.
Yeah.
So if he was at the house when they got back, I could imagine Sebastian could have possibly gotten very, very, very upset. And then all the hype from the whole day overstimulated him.
Yeah.
So
I
there's
think he was very overstimulated.
yeah. And that could just lead to just a big whirlwind of nothing good there.
And what they come up with the fact that he hadn't been online. And then they
Yeah.
decided that he had been online.
Mm-hmm.
And they're discussing now why he hasn't got his switch back.
Right.
Well, there's something in there, the reason why they're not giving that back.
That's what I wonder too. Now, I think it was Justin that had said it was an old switch.
Yeah.
And he said, it's probably just because he's got a new one, that he was using. And that one was just so old, it was kind of useless, but I don't know. I wonder if they hadn't got something.
Seth said, they hadn't he hadn't got that back. And, there's a reason for him not getting it back.
Yeah, that's what I think.
They wouldn't just be holding that, just be holding it.
Right.
And
in good measure, she put in here, one of my thoughts was Sebastian bucked up to CP and it was on after that. Yeah. That's what I think possibly he was there at that house when they got home, and that's kind of where I'm leaning towards.
Where you take the Friday night, that was something happened there on
I
that
agree.
Friday night.
I agree.
And then they went out and was all day gone Saturday.
And then Sunday again.
Yeah. So, and I don't.
Do you think it was planned?
For him to keep on going to work and not leaving. And they said there was at least one or two and a crane operator does have to be relieved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that he should have immediately, if he had been that concerned, should have got somebody in with help. But they said he was awful upset that day.
Yeah.
Now,
Did you hear? Did you hear when we played Silver on the Scenes earlier?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, because he went there and he talked to him. And that guy said, even when he left, he never said a word about his son being missing.
No, they never did. He never did bring that to any attention.
Yeah. And never asked to be relieved. He was just going to work his day.
Being reckless, like,
Yeah. Right.
And I take it right now that he's not even working there.
No, he's not. He is not working there. And I have heard he's gotten a job in Louisiana. So he's over in Louisiana and she's there with him, is what I've heard.
Now, this is just my opinion, all of this and speculation and allegedly. But at some point, if I was being threatened, I would have probably had somebody come and stay with me, but I don't think I'd have ever left home.
I would never have left home. And I'm telling you, I could have never left my house.
Mm-mm.
Not within 1 week of losing my son. And I knew he wasn't coming back. I wouldn't let nobody go in his room and change anything or touch anything. It just, I would almost freak out.
Yeah.
And that was just knowing my son wasn't coming back. But to think that there's a possibility that he may get to come back home.
Yeah.
I sure as heck wouldn't go anywhere.
Oh, I couldn't have either. I'd had somebody come stay with me or something.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have never left because if he knowed the lock on the door, he could have come right back in any day.
Right. What if he would have came home and they'd been gone?
Yeah.
Poor kid.
I don't
but
know.
This is my. Go ahead. What?
Did you hear Michelle After Dark?
I didn't get to listen to hers yet.
She's from New Zealand, Australia, or something, and they were talking about some manholes, over there where that
manhole. Yes.
And they said, you know, he could have got out and fell in one of those, just like that little Harris boy. And he
Yeah.
very well could be out wandering. But they said that he never left the yard to go anywhere. But somebody said that there was a man seen him down on Kellen one day.
See, I hadn't heard any of that. So, I know that what was I was gonna say something a while ago and I forgot. Um, I was gonna pull this up and I did not get to pull it up. Like I said, I didn't get to watch Michelle's yet, but I had received a text message from someone, and it was sent to them by Christopher Proudfoot, saying this manhole needs to be searched.
Yeah. And you know, when they drained all that, he could have gotten lodged in one of those drains.
Yep. Well, you know, we just had that Caleb Harris in Corpus.
Yeah.
Couldn't find him, and that guy happened to look in that hole because the cover was off. And that was in a weird, awkward space. And I talked to my nephew about that because he lives there. He was one of the ones that got the picture sent to him because it was going around town. And which that guy that found him took a picture and sent it to a friend, and it kind of got sent from there. And I asked him, I said, Matthew, where is this manhole at? Was it by his apartment? Was it by where his last phone ping was? He said it was like a block and a half away from, further down from where his phone last pinged.
Yes.
But he started describing the area. And it wasn't something somebody would just walk up on.
Not in barefooted. Wasn't he barefooted as well?
He was. And he said that it was up in kind of a corner spot of fenced off little area behind an industrial company there. And then over to the side was the water place. Up in this corner here. He said it wasn't like he was going to just walk across it and fall in.
Well, you couldn't. I don't know about you, honey, but I live in Tennessee and we raise tobacco and corn. And you couldn't never stand to walk barefooted in a corn patch or a tobacco patch.
Right.
The splinters and the old wood from the last year.
Oh, I bet. And I'm telling you, in Corpus, they got stickers. They got them brown, hard stickers.
They do. They do.
They do. I grew up with that. Them things hurt your feet.
Oh, you can't go barefooted.
Yeah. But where he was walking, where his phone had pinged, it was a road. And then his last ping. And then a block and a half away. So that manhole cover was off. He was down inside of it all that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And had that cover not been off of it when that guy was walking through,
yeah,
you know, he would still be lost.
Yeah. And not questioning that day. In some sense, I'm not questioning her, but do we know that those was the places that they went that day? And was that the bowling alley that they hit the last?
All we have is her words.
Yes.
Her words.
They could have done bowling the early part of the morning. And
they could have done none of it or all of it, or I don't know.
They're not showing any footage of that other than they showed Seth him at the restaurant.
Right. And he did say it was getting kind of dark.
Yeah.
It was really dusk, and it was hard for him to tell.
Yep. Yep.
So,
we really don't know for sure.
All we're
If
going off of is Katie's words and the
Mhm.
words that Chris is putting in there.
And I think everybody wants their child out there if it's missing, but
Mm-hmm.
I I can cast a lot of it on what they've said about little Sebastian. It's not been everything that good.
No, I don't think it has.
And I think Chris just said, "Hey, I've raised your kid for the X amount of years. Now you take him. Why didn't Seth take him back in a year ago?"
That's what I'm saying. Gosh, they were so close to him getting to go to his daddy. So
Yeah.
close.
And they was gonna put him in school. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing, Lolly, is you think about it, how was he going to homeschool that child? Now that wasn't for just the summer. He had already enrolled him in school.
Right, because he was going to go there before the end of the school year.
Yeah.
And so
And how was he going to school him and work 12-hour shifts?
I wonder that myself, but I believe it was an online school that he was going to do his classes online, and he was only going to do it to finish out the year. But Seth was going to get him some therapy and get some things to help him with his social skills, and stuff like that. And then he
Yeah.
would start school.
I just kind of wondered how he thought he was going to manage that, though, with
I
him
know.
working 12 hours a day.
I know.
And I think he was about an hour away from work. So you're
Right.
taking 14 hours out of a day. I don't see how that's going to work.
I wondered that, but I don't know.
And then he says all these things about him, and some very private things about that little feller.
Well, the whole thing with what happened to him in California,
Yes.
the reason he did that, and I can kind of understand a little bit, because Chris had said, if people keep asking me, I'm going to have to be the one to tell them.
Yeah.
So, Seth said, I'm not going to let him hold something over my head.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is that child was living with his mother when that happened.
Yeah.
He was living with his mother when he disappeared.
Yeah. And I think that's where we all want to cast the blame. And normally,
Yeah.
it's only the normal that we would think that way, because he was with her and she was the last one to see him.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there was a little feller at school that called him out and said, "Hey, if you want to go fishing tonight, I'll pick you up," and just never did bring him back. Or maybe he just walked out and said, "Hey, I've
Yeah.
got to live this way at my dad's, and I've got to live this way at my mom's."
Yeah.
Because now my son, when he would go to his dad's, it would take me at least 2 or 3 days to bring him back to
Yeah.
normal. So you take a child that's got issues, and
that
he's got,
really
and
probably
then
impacts.
that's very hard to
Yeah,
live that
it's hard.
way.
It's hard for just, a normal kid. But then to throw in the issues Sebastian has and stuff, and then it probably it just intensifies his emotions.
Well, yeah, he knows he's going to have to go and live one way this week, and this 2 or 3 days, and then the next 2 or 3 days, or 4 weeks, 5 days, he's got to go and live another way.
Yeah.
That's so hard. So
It
hard
is.
on a child that don't even have any kind of and I'm not saying that he's defective. He just had an issue, and
Did, yeah. Yeah.
He's a precious little thing.
He
I
is
think
that smile, man. That just his smile gets me in the heart.
I know he's such a sweet little thing and so
And like
innocent.
Friendly Snake said, Seth canceled having Sebastian that weekend. He could have hired kidnappers. He
Well, you
very
know
well.
what? The thing I look at too is maybe he made somebody mad in jail and he just got to, knowing him real well and, you
Yeah.
know, I
And,
don't
and
know.
that's the thing, if I look at it this way, if that is what happened and Seth set it all up to take Sebastian away, why are we getting all the lies from Katie and Chris?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why the distraction of the footprints and they go out my door and to the right
Yeah.
when all the flashlight stuff was happening over here on the left?
Right.
I mean, those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they
And
would have been a little more upfront with, no, there was no, scent.
and do we even know that it wasn't her that took the trash out?
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
he never made it home.
That's what, she said that Sebastian took it out. Her words.
Yeah.
The video shows someone,
Mm-hmm.
In dark clothing.
I'm just surprised, that there's not no more video than they are, showing. I mean, I know it's dark and stuff, but it still showed some stuff picked up.
Right. And I
So,
want to know what made that trash so heavy.
yeah.
And to me, that is a huge red flag.
Well, Lolly, look at this way. That trash was for building materials and it went to Kentucky. Now, the regular trash went to Gallatin and some went to Nashville.
And
So,
see?
why was it just a trash incident all at once to go to Kentucky when the home trash goes to Lebanon or Nashville?
Yeah.
And 2 days later, 3 days later, I don't know how many days later, the landfill in Gallatin caught in a hot fire.
Wasn't that something?
Yeah. So,
And to me, that says there was something there.
yeah.
And they
Why
went to
would
the
it?
other landfill to search it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't go searching a landfill for a runaway child.
A
And,
runaway. They was treating it as an accident or they was
yeah.
as a homicide then.
Yeah, I think they were. And Friendly Snake, Ellie has not showed us the video of the trash. There have been several creators that have talked to people in the neighborhood, and their cameras is what had the video on it. And they said you couldn't tell who was taking out the trash. They just had on dark clothes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's all we know.
Now, I don't know. They wanted to say that was a trash truck up there, but trash trucks have lights everywhere.
Yeah, but a trash truck lights would all stay the same direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One's not going to go running off this way while the other one goes that way.
No, I think that was floodlights to somebody's home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't move.
Those two.
Flashlights moved.
Yeah, the flashlights moved. Yeah. And they're going to try to debunk it by saying, no, that was a trash truck. No, that wasn't a trash truck. They might have a video with the trash truck.
Well, I watched a white boy and he was showing all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
and the elevations of everything. And to me, it looked like floodlights. and it looked like flashlights moving. Now the two lights on the left didn't move.
Exactly. Those,
and there was no leaves on the trees in Tennessee at that time.
Yeah.
So I still think.
But they did have that little ravine thing that they had to go down into.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So when they would cut out, the flashlights would cut out for a while, and then you would see them again. I think that's because they were going into that deep ravine and coming up.
Right. I see that as well. And why would they bring up that all that's missing is a flashlight?
Yeah. Wasn't that something?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know if my son run
And
off.
it's a little keychain flashlight, according to them.
Yeah.
So how do you notice that?
And then you see that one big light, it comes out, and then it turns and goes back.
Yep. It goes back.
So if you look at the elevations of the movement of the flashlight and the two lights, it just looks like floodlights to me.
Yeah.
I
don't know. It's very sad that you have two parents. The mother, I honestly believe in my heart, and this is my opinion, but I honestly believe she's holding the key to every bit of this.
Yeah, and you think about it, if they were on the phone for 3 hours, that child, if they were arguing, they were going through some stuff right then. Supposedly maybe a divorce or something.
That's what we're hearing. Yeah.
You think about that child. Okay, well, I went and done this and done that and all this, and now they're fussing over me, and I'm just done.
Yeah.
I think I don't know what went through that little child's mind, but they like stability, and they like a pattern. They want their lives to be.
Yes. And that's what everybody's saying. That's what I keep hearing. So
yeah, they do. They if anything's different, and I used to be this way. I used to have things that, if it wasn't in order, it'd just tear me all to pieces, and I'd have to get it back in order to be, at ease. And I don't know what that's caused, because I'm 67 years old.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, everything had to be a certain way. Of course, when I got older, I didn't feel like caring then.
Right.
And two, it points back, he didn't want that. He wanted to mark Sebastian as maybe I don't know what it was. It's called, when you think your child's going to be a sex predator or something, but
yeah,
he didn't
really wanted to put that on there.
Yeah, and that little girl, evidently they loved one another. I reckon they FaceTimed every day.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. From what both sides have said, that Sebastian and her were pretty close, but they never got to be together.
No,
it didn't sound like.
No, and Nina, everybody says, "Oh, that was just a front." No, I don't think she could have come up with all that at one time.
I don't think so.
I
believed her. I believed her.
I did too.
And it was because it was from her heart. You could tell.
Yeah, she was broken.
Yeah.
And I think that if they was to interview, which again, I'm just pointing out points that I see, not blaming anybody.
Right.
But if they was to talk to all of his ex-wives, they might find out a whole lot more than what they know.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if they haven't.
and they could had. Now, they had mentioned one that he had wasn't that good too.
Yeah.
And I don't blame Katie, you know, I mean, I do think that she's there because she's got a better life and she didn't have no good life. I don't think they should have ever brought up what she had to go through.
Yeah. Well, Friendly Snake says it was reported by Sweetie Pilo that CP has a juvenile file from SA of 2 females relatives.
Yes,
She
he
said
does.
it sounds like he knows Sebastian's urges. And my whole thing was with Sebastian, I think to have autism is probably hard enough to deal with because not everybody's getting angry and upset and all this like you are, you know, over here and you have autism. But to get help for him to understand that, understand how to handle issues and to recognize those issues, just get him some help so he doesn't think that everything that he's feeling is normal. You know, it's more or less he can learn what happened to him and what was good about it, what was not good about it at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But nobody ever did that.
No, I don't think so. You know, with that condition, I think now my husband's cousin, he's got that. But the sad part about this is all these years growing up, he would get real. I'd say there's a lot of things goes through their heads at one time. And they just, you know, they're trying to deal with one thing and they've got all this other stuff going.
Right.
And he would get real upset as a teenager and he would say, I don't know why I was born this way. So he knew that things was off. But when he would get upset, just everything started crowding in on him.
Right. And that's what I've heard, you know, that's how they feel.
Yeah.
And
everything at once.
Even their touch, things that touches them, or you know, the bare
Very
feet
sensitive
on the ground, or things on your hands that certain feel, you know, they're very, very high alert with that type of things.
They are.
And so for him to get a whack on the butt with the belt because he didn't have it on.
Yeah. He's
That's
15 years old.
Yeah. And so if, you know, his sensitivity is great, then that was uncalled for.
Yeah, they're on high alert of whatever
Yeah.
alert.
Whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's high alert. So if it's
Right.
a fetish, that's just like us going out and buying. I've got a shoe fetish, so you know, I
Right.
get this urge for this. Well, he's got the urge for things, you know, and things is coming in all at once. You take, okay, your car broke down, your refrigerator started, stopped working, and your washing machine ain't washing.
Exactly.
All of that at once. Well, you think about that all the time. You think about all of that stuff running through your head all the time.
Right. Yeah.
The things that's wrong.
All of it. And not understanding it, that would make it 10 times worse, I would think.
Understanding it or knowing what to do with it.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 I agree with Tiffany here. She said he was peeing on himself for no reason. That's a sign of SA. You know, I'll be honest with you, just the wetting on yourself doesn't have to be SA type. It can just be changes. It can be confusion and kids not knowing how to process where their life is or what's happening to them. Parents getting a divorce, you know, or, you know, losing a parent or a grandparent or something. My son did that. He was 4. My mom passed away. And he would just sit there. He wouldn't play. He wouldn't do anything. He just wanted to sit there.
That's so sad.
And so we had to work through that, and it took a lot to get him to finally open up. And once he started opening up and talking about it and everything, he started feeling better. But it
Well,
was
Molly,
a
you've
process.
you've raised children. I have. I've got one son and I've got a stepson. And
Mhm.
with his condition, and at any age, there's no child that's, say, 4, 5, 6, 10.
Mm.
They don't
Yeah,
know to come to you and say, "Hey, I've got a problem. Can you help me with it?"
right.
Now, I've never had one to ever say that to me.
Yeah,
But now I'd lay down with my son at night, and eventually we'd just touch on everything. And eventually I would find out before he fell asleep what was bothering him.
right.
And Sebastian, he probably couldn't do that
I
at
don't
that age
yeah,
yet.
I don't think he ever had that with Katie and with Chris.
He couldn't have said, "Well, Mama, why are y'all fussing?" or
Yeah,
anything
I
like
don't think
that.
I don't think it was acceptable. It was a
No,
very regimented house.
exactly.
Like,
Everything was balanced out. And when it started becoming unbalanced,
yeah,
with the arguing and him not coming home and spank, you know, Sebastian was probably up old enough to think, I'm too old to be spanked with a belt.
right. Yeah, well, you would think so at 15, but Mr.
And
Chris didn't think so.
what a downer would that be to put a
Yeah,
diaper on a 15-year-old, you know,
exactly.
making him feel less because he does have the issues,
Yeah,
instead of getting to it and saying, "Hey, son, what's bothering you that you're soiling yourself, or is there
right.
something going on that we can help you with?"
Hmm.
That that
You know,
apparently hadn't happened.
no, and do you know, I would think as a mother, because my son started having what they call blank seizures, where he just would stare off into space, and I would have a hard time to get his focus back. And they said it
Uh-huh.
was like blank seizures. They said
Yeah.
it wasn't bad, it wasn't hurting him, but when he just stared off like that, that's the process. And but I noticed it.
Uh-huh.
I went and got him help.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's wrong with him? And this is what he's doing. Sebastian was never diagnosed until just a few years ago of him
Yes,
having
and that's what's amazing me is just now, you know,
yes.
that
Mm-mm.
that was to me lack of paying attention. But
Exactly.
that might have been your son's way of just escaping things that was really coming down
Yeah.
on him.
Yeah. My
Did it
mother
ever
was
go away?
Mhm. Yeah, it did. My mother had cancer, and him and my mom were very, very close. Well, he started doing that about the time she was having her treatments, and he couldn't go to her house
Oh,
because she was breaking down her immune system, and she couldn't be around the kids.
well, now I know when I was 9, a good friend of mine, she sewed for my grandmother, and she was making me a dress. And I heard some noise up there, and I didn't know what was going on. I was just 9. When I went up there, he had shot his wife and then shot himself in front of me.
Oh my gosh.
And I I wanted to talk about it, but
Yeah.
we didn't have any psychiatrist or anything in this little small town. And my
Right.
grandmother thought, as long as my grandmother raised me,
Hmm.
uh, as long as I was talking about it, I was going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then finally, I just shut down and didn't. And it still, I'm 67, and it still bothers me.
Yeah.
But they would say, "Oh, well, he just lost his mind." Well, I'm thinking, well, how do we know we got our mind?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, what's the
Yeah. As a
defeat?
kid, that's not enough, you know.
No,
Quite.
it's not.
Yeah.
And with Sebastian going through stuff like he's going and back and forth to different homes, living two different lives, being two or
Mhm.
three different types of kid when he's around, I
Yes.
just say, I just say he just had enough.
Yeah. I think there was a breaking point of some sorts, whether it was Sebastian that broke, whether it was Katie that broke, or if Chris was there, did he just, you know, it seemed like everything was kind of escalating,
Yeah, and you know,
building.
he was in the middle of trying to get visiting rights to his own child.
Yeah. 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7 years. You would think that, after 7 years, you would kind of get the idea this ain't working.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But,
didn't at one time Seth
well,
say that he had told her, said, it's either me or him, and I hope you pick him.
mm-hmm.
So that was some major issues with them.
Yeah, there was
And
some.
I just, there's no way, if it becomes me and a man, my kid would
Mm-mm.
come.
Oh, yeah. All 3 of my kids would have came way
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
wouldn't have been no choice there.
Mm-mm. My kids were my life.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to stand between me and my kids.
And they
Yeah.
said that he had exposed himself. Maybe that's the reason why he didn't want him around that little girl. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I know this. He did say it. He said he didn't want Sebastian around his daughter. His words. And he said it. I think it was on Smiley's when he was doing that interview with Smiley.
Well, they argued with me on a panel the other day, or didn't argue with me. They just plain just come down on me hard. And
Oh,
I knew that I had heard it from one of them.
yes, he did
But
say it. It was his words. No, I do not want him there. And that's why he would go to his dad's when the daughter would come.
well, we all kids do what they're around and what they're raised with. And they had
Exactly.
said that Seth run around, half naked or naked. Well, that little feller didn't know, hey, I can do it here, but I can't do it there.
Yeah.
And making him feel bad because he'd come over there to take them diapers off to put on some boxers.
Yes, my gosh.
That's another
And
way of putting him down.
yeah, it was. Instead of helping him trying to figure out what the problem was here,
Yeah.
They're just going to embarrass him
Again.
Yeah.
He had the mentality to know that he was a older child and
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
He was going through these.
I think he knew. I think he was scared of Chris. I really do. And I think Chris made it very clear in Sebastian's life, it's Chris's way or no way.
I think so too.
And
I think
if what Chris said about CPS was true, CPS failed that child. You're supposed to be able to go to school and be able to talk to somebody at your school.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing that. And if CPS just brushed it off and laughed with Chris about it, and then talked to Sebastian about him, doing so wrong, poor kid didn't have anything left.
Nope, in my opinion. How many kids has CPS?
I have heard by a very good source that CPS lady is no longer there.
Yeah.
After this came out, she was released from her position.
They failed so many children.
Yes.
And they've ended up dead. Look at poor little old Harmony Montgomery.
I know. My goodness.
You know, he waited a week later before he ever went back. Well, that black eye, it's already healed.
Yeah.
So that they just, to me, now both my sister-in-laws, which one just passed away from COVID, but both of my sister-in-laws, and one of them is still over CPS, and she just, you know, I still think, you know, it's ignoring the fact they was two little black twins that lived nearby. And get this, these little girls was only 3 years old, but they couldn't bathe together, couldn't sleep together, couldn't do
Oh,
anything together because they were sexually active with one another.
oh, bless their heart.
So now how can you,
That's
you know,
horrible.
it is, and they had to have learned it from somewhere, but they couldn't be in the same room by themselves. They couldn't take baths by themselves. They couldn't sleep together.
You know that had to have been a learned thing from them for them.
Yeah, it was taught.
Yeah. Tiffany in chat says, as a social worker, I 100% agree if what he says is true. Yeah. An investigation is never ever to give their opinion, especially to the alleged perpetrator. Exactly. Exactly. And your opinion shouldn't be given to make the child feel like they had done something wrong.
No,
You know,
because
I mean, if he had done, you know, needed to be talked to about you can't fake these calls or, you know, kind of thing, there's a way to go about that, but not right there in front of Katie and Chris.
yeah, and she took Sebastian outside to talk to him,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and Seth said told him not, he didn't need to be doing that.
Yeah.
Now
I don't know.
it
I'm starting
almost,
to question a lot about what they're saying because we're finding so many untruths.
yeah. Why would a CPS call a child out in the yard to say that? And how did Chris know that he said, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that"?
Exactly.
So I'm
Exactly.
often wondering if she hadn't already been there several times and then made friends with them.
Yep. Maybe she was getting paid off like these people are getting to run off the searchers. I don't know.
Now, what
I
do you
don't
think
know.
about that, Lolly? You
Okay.
think this is all true about all these people threatening these people? Do you believe that?
I had heard it and I was like, you know, I hadn't heard nobody confirm it. Um, I do know Terry Lynn's tires have been slashed. I think there was a belt up in her motor or whatever that got cut. Different things to her car has happened.
Well, now that happened to CJ this last week.
Mm-hmm. And when I heard that the two search teams that had came in, they came from, you know, up there at Memphis or Nashville, coming down to
Yeah.
Sebastian because they were there. They left because of the threats.
Who would do that though? It's a child missing.
I know. I don't know. But with them leaving, because they're so dedicated to finding these missing kids and people, you know,
Yeah.
that I wouldn't think just some little, you know, you better watch your back or something like that would run them off.
Yeah.
But I have been told it was pretty severe, like details
Oh,
of what
Lord.
would happen to them.
Well,
And they
sweetheart,
were
I'm
like,
going to get off of here and let you continue with your show. Thank you for having
all
me
right.
on.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime, anytime. You just let me know. But I do apologize. I didn't let you up last time. I felt so bad.
No. You don't feel bad. It's good to listen to you. And everybody
Okay.
have a good afternoon.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up. We love
Thank
you
you for
bunches.
having me. Love you and bye.
All righty. Bye bye. Um, yes, I was going to talk about this, guys. TJ, thank you for telling me that because I was going to bring this up. I don't know if everybody has seen this yet. I had a screenshot of it here. And there is a post on the Where's Sebastian Facebook site. And it's from Dwayne Dog Chapman. And it says, does Summers Wells' father, Don Wells, have a familia relationship with Sebastian's mother? And it says, if you have any information, contact 888-833-TELL-DOG or email tips@manhunts.one. So I wonder where that came from. I wonder what that's about. I have yet to hear anything family relation wise between the two cases. But we can sit here and list several familiar type of things and events that have happened in each case. Because it's so similar. But I don't know about, being related. Dadgum, I don't know. Dun, dun, dun. Stay tuned. That's all I know. Golly, when you think these cases can't get any crazier, they show you they can. That's what I'm thinking, TJ. He must know something that could possibly be linking the two families. And CP did say he followed Summers' case. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Guys, there's so much that is just mind baffling. Just boggles the brain. But I will say this. We're not stopping. We will continue to call out the things that we find. We'll continue to talk about what's being talked about. We'll continue to talk about every time we catch them in another lie. Do we want to sit here and find all the lies that the parents have said? No, that's not our first choice. Our first choice is for these parents to help us, or we should be helping the parents find their child. But we're doing more work than them. They're on vacations. And we're sitting over here talking about their son or her son every day. And there's a lot of people invested in Summers and in Sebastian's case. And Summers' case has dwindled off a ton because everybody's focused over here on Sebastian's case. And that's why I want to kind of keep going back and forth, tossing them around a little bit. I want both of those kids to get enough talk time. And you got the Foots over here, and we're catching lie after lie. And it just keeps getting That road of lies just keeps growing longer and longer and longer. And to find out that an important, crucial timeline of when this child went missing, Katie hasn't proved to us any of her timeline is true. I mean, it's just her word, and we're taking her word. So Chris is putting his out there, and we've taken his word. But there's people outside of the Bow Wow socks that aren't covering for them, that's standing up and saying, hey, look, Chris was not here at 5-something in the morning on that crane. Not like he said he was. He didn't ask to be relieved. He was told he was being relieved because of his attitude. That's why Chris left that day. And when he drove away from there, everybody still there in Memphis at that work site had no clue about Sebastian. None. We're finding out lots of things where they say they're going around and they're putting out flyers and telling people about Sebastian, and yet where they stayed in their camper at the Yogi Bear site, there was not one flyer up there. Her sign was off of her car door. Even though they knew they had been tracked down without the "Where is Sebastian" sign on the door, people already knew where they were. And they were watched. People had eyes on them. And the man that ran the office said he knew nothing about Sebastian. No flyers were ever taken in there. They didn't go to vigils because those are for when people die. That was Chris's words. But it was okay for them to go to a Harley Davidson motorcycle shop and look at motorcycles. And then tell everybody that's not where they were. That was an old picture. But funny how in that picture they were wearing Sebastian t-shirts. And they may seem like little lies, but those lies all come together and proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's a lot of distraction going on. It proves that they're not here to look for Sebastian. They're not over here to look for Sebastian. Because all the places they said they were going knew nothing about Sebastian. Had no flyers. Nothing. No words of Sebastian. But we're supposed to believe them. It's getting harder and harder to even try to convince myself that they might mean well. I'm just not seeing it. I'm losing sight of that completely. And I just don't understand it, is my whole thing. And so while we're trying to figure out the parents over here, the mom and the stepdad trying to defend the dad when he gets bashed because he's given all the proof. He showed everything he can possibly show. We're all doing this. But Sebastian's still out there somewhere. And while we're doing this, nobody's out looking for Sebastian. For them to do all this mess and for us to get involved in all this mess over here, Sebastian's name doesn't even get mentioned. So I want to keep on Sebastian. And with what we did today, everything we went over today, it just kind of finalized for me that the mother and the stepfather are not here for Sebastian. They're not in this for Sebastian. They're more into the fact that they can file charges against Bullhorn Betty and take her to court. That's a family affair. But walking around, handing out flyers, going on panels, whether it's on YouTube, news stations, it doesn't matter. Newspapers, doesn't matter. The mother has not talked since May. And that's almost 5 months. And not one time in all of that have they spoke up and pled for their child, that child, to be returned to their home. Not one time have they spoke up and done that without being asked. And let me tell you, if I had a child missing, I'd be taking the microphone away from the reporters and I would be talking myself. I would be pleading. I wouldn't have to fake tears. I wouldn't have to tell a story and stop and restart on a whole different subject just to divert away from the fact that I screwed up that part of it. There would be none of that. So no, I don't feel like the parents are being honest. No, I don't feel like the parents are telling us the truth. I think some of what they say, a tiny little smidge of truth gets put in there. But yes, I do say Sebastian is missing. He's still missing. 7 months. He left his home with his glasses on, but he didn't put shoes on. So did he run so fast that out of there that he forgot shoes, and so fast across that lawn and roads and sidewalks that the dogs couldn't even pick up a scent? Or could it possibly be that he didn't walk out of there? Guys, I am going to let y'all go. Prayers for everybody that is in the flood zone, that has been affected by the flooding, the winds. all of it. Prayers for everyone. If you talk to somebody that's usually here with us, tell them we're praying for them. Everything that we saw tonight, everything we've been talking about tonight, guys, we only have, remember this, we only have their words to go by. So, to prove that they were wrong, to prove that what they said or what they did was wrong, we only have their words to go by. And remember, at the end of the day, Sebastian is still missing. And he's our number one. He is our focus. He is the reason we're here. And we want justice for this child. This handsome young man that's somewhere that in my heart I believe his mother and stepfather know where he's at. Because why would they look for him if they already knew where he was? Right? I don't know. But y'all don't give up. Don't let the hate channels discourage you. Don't let people's aggravation get to you. You know, we all get affected in one way or the other. Let's just stay strong. Let's stay together. Let's keep putting the word out about Sebastian. And for everybody that's been here, everybody that's going to listen later on a replay or something, I appreciate y'all so much. I hope y'all know that. I hope you know y'all are so loved and very much appreciated. And with that, I'm going to let y'all get out of here and we'll get going. I'll probably be back again tomorrow. We'll see. But for now, love and hugs, everybody. Bye.